The purpose of this video is to conduct a brief review of the course syllabus and the grading rubrics that will be utilized in the course. And at this point, you should have already printed out a copy of the syllabus or maybe even picked up a copy during class. Most of your instructors are probably using a syllabus that looks very similar to this one, but I need to draw your attention to some parts of my syllabus that are a bit different. You will notice among the information provided in the instructor information screen is a reference to using Skype for office hours. Now, industry uses conference calling as part of routine communications now, so I think it is important that I offer this to my students as well. Skype allows you to make phone calls for free to another Skype user, so those of you who do not want to eat up your cell phone minutes can sign up for Skype and make calls to me for free. Now, I am a Skype premium customer, so if you and a study buddy both have the same question and want to speak with me at the same time, I can conference in several people into the same video call. And the course information below, you will see that I include a picture of what your textbook should look like, and if you have any questions or if your book appears to be different, please give me a call. On page 3, and yours is actually on page 2, the section on participation is a little different from your other classes. In all of my classes, participation is 30% of your grade, and that means that if you do not participate, then the highest grade you can get in the class is a C. There is no texting, sleeping, or disengaging in my classes, since participation is a way that I use to gauge whether or not the students understand the material. And if you miss a class, or you want to make up the missed participation grade, there is a list of assignments that you can complete for any class you miss. And if you miss a class and fail to submit the participation assignment, then the grade you will receive for that class is a 0. Now, for my online students, participation is illustrated by your fulfilling the requirements of the discussion board. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be looking at for your participation grade. But at the same time, if you miss a discussion, you need to go ahead and participate in that discussion so that you do not have a 0 in the grade book. And then if you want to do some extra credit, then we can work something out on that. Now, the test section sets forth that there will be 4 exams during the semester, and any student who has an A average in the course without rounding on the last day of instruction will not be required to take the final exam. By the way, you want to do everything you can to get an A in the course, because the final exam is essay-based, comprehensive, and closed book. Now, in the table under course schedule, you will see the general pace of the class and the weeks I am anticipating that we will cover material. And this is subject to change, and you should consult the Blackboard calendar for your due dates. You will notice that March 22nd, 2013 is the last day to withdraw without academic penalty. Under the general course environment, on page 4, information regarding extra credit can be found. There are 2 important things to remember about extra credit work. 1, no extra credit points will be added to your grade until all work is submitted. If you have a 0 for any assignment, you will have to make up that assignment plus complete the extra credit work, and that includes missing participation grades. 2, extra credit assignments have a due date, and I do not accept extra credit work at the end of the semester because it creates a grading burden. So if you are interested in making an A in the course so that you do not have to take the final, you need to be submitting the extra credit work when it is due. Now, on page 5 is a paragraph on appropriate use of technology. And if you have portable devices that you use to communicate with your friends and access work, that is fine. But your answers to homework should not be drafted on Androids, Blackberries, or other portable devices. Typically, work that is drafted on these devices will not meet the standard for college level writing. Any assignment or email will not be read beyond the 5th error and will be returned to you for editing. Now that you are in college, Your writing should reflect that level of achievement. Even today, with all the education I have completed, I can still question my own writing. And if you have any questions in your spelling, look it up in the dictionary or use another word. If you have questions regarding your grammar, rewrite the sentence using another sentence structure. Text jargon should never be used in formal academic communications. You may use text jargon in communication with me when we are texting in Skype or through other devices. Also on page 5, there is a section entitled Special Classes of Employment. And if you are active duty, military, police, fire, EMS, or a disaster responder, volunteer or otherwise, please send me an email at the beginning of the semester so that I can accommodate you later on if you're called into work under emergency circumstances. Now I also use SafeAssign, which is a program through which I submit your work. SafeAssign will compare your document to other documents on the internet and through a global database to make sure that it is original content. Anything that you use, text, pictures, tables, anything else that you create should be cited. Now let's talk about emergencies, because things can and will happen. On page 6, on page 6 is my policy on emergencies. Now, in order for there to be no confusion in the interpretation of this section, I will read it to you verbatim. At the time that the emergency becomes known to you, you should contact the instructor immediately if you will be missing any coursework or test. You should also provide documentation that substantiates the emergency. An emergency is defined in this course as a serious injury or life-changing circumstance that impacts you personally or your immediate family. If another person is 100% dependent on you for their care and provision, then a serious injury or life-changing circumstance that impacts that dependent will also qualify. An immediate family is defined as mother, father, stepmother, stepfather, brother and sister, step-siblings, husband or wife, children, and stepchildren. Now, if you have any questions about the emergency policy, you should contact me. Do not wait to speak to me regarding an emergency the next month after it happens. The more time you accrue between the date of your emergency and the date you make me aware of it, the higher the likelihood that I will be unable to help you. Now, even though we've gone over some very important parts of the syllabus, you should take time to read it in its entirety. Make sure that you email me any questions you have so that I can make those issues clearer to the entire class. So let's move on to the grading rubrics. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so that you can see it. You'll notice under the navigation structure there is a link called Syllabus and Rubrics, and under that tab you will see there are 2 rubrics that we will be using in the class. One for written assignments and one to contest answers to quizzes and tests. So let's look at the rubric entitled Rubrics for Written Assignments. Okay, and you will see that each column classifies the level of work, college level work, very strong work, all the way down to unsatisfactory, and the points that that level of work will generate toward your grade. Now, the row indicates the category by which I grade. So let's look at effectiveness in communication. Now, if you want to achieve the maximum number of points in this section, which is 20 points, you need to make sure that your paper is well organized, that you use standard English, and that it is error-free. If you have one error, you will earn 18 points in this section. If you have 2 errors, you will limit yourself to 16 points, and the points decrease based upon the number of errors. So you should read each category as you are writing your assignments, each row, so that you maximize your points. I want to go over with you this row here, use of materials and references. if you do not relate your work to the textbook and cite it, the highest level of points you can gain in this section is 16 points. At this level of study, we are not creating new ideas or new thoughts. That is why it is important to cite your sources. If you get in the habit of doing it now, it will not be as big a deal as you continue into your higher level courses. So make sure that you read the rest of the rubric and let me know if you have any questions. Now, sometimes students will answer a question and they believe that their answer is correct and that the textbook or the test bank is wrong. All right, let me close this out. Okay. Textbooks can contain errors, just like test banks. Even when I write my own test questions, I can make mistakes as well. So if you find yourself in that circumstance, you may want to contest the answer. And you will see the criteria is also set up in the form of a rubric for contesting answers to questions. If you want a favorable outcome, that's a category right here. That basically means that you have provided adequate proof of your position, and I will give you the points back. You will need to make sure that you have pointed out some sort of contradiction within the same chapter or the section covered. You want to show me that the text is vague and it really doesn't answer the question either directly or indirectly. Show me that the textbook does not address the question or that it is contradictory. And the last section of this is that you need to write me a couple of sentences showing me that you understand why the answer as graded is wrong or correct and why your preferred answer is equally correct. And students use this all the time, and I do not take offense to you questioning my grading. So if you need to contest an answer or a particular question that's been graded, this is how you do it. You want to make sure that you meet all the criteria. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, just let me know.